Hello everyone, it's Rena. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for tuning in. So today I'm going to be doing a video that I've actually already done before, the ride or die tag. The reason I really wanted to do this video is because a couple other people had been revisiting the tag. It's been about almost 2 years since it came out, and so I figured now was a good time to do it. And also, I have since filming that video and since posting it, I have transitioned to being cruelty-free with my makeup. So I figured it might be helpful to show you guys, tell you what I had been using before, what were my favorite products, and then now, what am I using now that I've transitioned to cruelty-free? Have I found good alternatives? And I know I said this in the video I did almost 2 years ago now, but I've never been like a ride or die chick. Like, just the name is never like been my thing, that type of slang or whatever. But like the meaning of the tag is there, the products that you would always want to take with you on a trip, that you can always rely on. That type of sentiment, like that's there in a lot of the products in my collection. And so I wanted to share that with you guys and just tell you guys things that have stayed the same and things that have changed. And with that cruelty-free aspect, I thought that was really important for me to kind of come back and revisit, this whole idea. Not really wearing much makeup today. It is a kind of skincare and just letting my face breathe type day. So if you're new here, this is not always the norm. It just happened to be that I had time to film and I thought I'd jump on, even if I don't look, my best. My hair is very curly and my bangs are too long, but sometimes that's just what you get here. And hopefully you stick around and you enjoy the video. So I'm going to start off and kind of go through the general order that I went in before, and we're going to start with moisturizer. So in my tag video that I already did, I had said that I really hadn't found a moisturizer that I loved. I was using the CeraVe, I think, during the day with an SPF, and I think I was using, what is it called? Shoot. I didn't even have it written down. It's the brand that creates that micellar water that's really, really popular. Anyway, I was using something at night, and it was a really thick, heavy cream. And it was nice, but I hadn't found anything I really loved, and I really hadn't found a daily moisturizer that I, felt comfortable using every day, that I felt was actually doing something. And so I had mentioned just the CeraVe, really, and that was about it. Fast forward to now, and I do have a daily moisturizer that I really, really like and have purchased multiple times. And that is the Josie Maran Argan Daily Moisturizer SPF 47. I believe I have a review on this product on my channel already, so if you want to check that out, feel free. It should be up there. It might be a joint review with the cleansing oil, but it should be up there. Really love this product. It does keep my skin nice and soft. It's not overly moisturizing where it's going to interfere with my makeup, and it definitely protects my skin from the sun. I am so grateful for that because I live in Florida and it is ridiculous, the sun's, power and strength. So definitely am glad that I found that. I do really well with a lot of the Josie Maran products. Having somewhat dry skin, I feel like my skin has been changing a little bit recently, where I've been more dry combo, but it's still been working really well for me. Next, I have my face primer. I'm kind of going in the order that I would roughly apply my makeup, and so I have my face primer. Back then, I didn't have a face primer that I loved either. I think I mentioned in the video, I always had a hard time finding primers that worked for me, and I always have. I remember I was using Maybelline Baby Skin for a long time. I used Benefit for a little while, and then I tried the Smashbox ones, and the Smashbox was the closest I could get to something that I really enjoyed. I tried the Ordinaries, and I did really like it, but it wasn't quite giving me the matte effect that I really like. And so now I'm happy to say I have found a primer I really like. I've bought multiples of it, and so I've really kind of put it through the ringer and tried it out. And it's the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer. This is just the little travel size. I did a video on this too, that if you buy 2 travel sizes of this, it's the same amount of money as buying a full size, but you get more product. Actually, it might be $2 cheaper. I think it's $2 cheaper and you get more products. So I highly recommend the sample sizes, the deluxe ones that you can get at like Ulta and Sephora in the front by the cash register. This stuff is great. It has rose hip and argan oil, and it's supposed to be pore perfecting. So it's basically perfect for what I want. I want that blurred effect, I want the mattifying effect, but I want moisture, and since I have somewhat dry skin, the rosehip and argan oil is a lifesaver. It just makes my skin feel great. And we'll get into foundation in a little bit, but even when I don't wear foundation, I still wear this primer because I just feel like it makes my skin look awesome. So I'm a big fan of this. I'm so happy I found this. This is great. Next, I would put on concealer. So in my previous video, I had said that my favorite concealer was the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, or whatever it's called. And that concealer is great. It is a really good concealer if you don't need cruelty-free makeup and you're looking for something inexpensive. But since switching to cruelty-free, you know, I've had a hard time finding concealers. I was really, really into the Kat Von D, the Lock-It Concealer Creme, and I did finish a whole one of that, but I just kind of, at that point, I liked it. It was good, but it was a little drying for me, just a touch. It got really thick towards the end of the tube, and I just couldn't stomach spending another $26 on a concealer. Concealer, foundation, mascara, those are things that I have a really hard time shelling out the money. Eyeshadows, lipsticks, blushes, highlighters even, like, I don't have a problem. I don't know why. I just get a little more enjoyment out of those, and I feel like it's worth the extra money. But for concealer, I just find it to be such a boring product. Like, I don't want to spend $26. So, my previous one was the Maybelline, and then I tried to find a cruelty-free alternative, and I have ended up really loving the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer. I know this was big probably about a year ago. I just got it a couple months ago, and I've really been loving it. This has been so good for me. This is the lightest shade, so that's kind of an issue. I don't think there's a really good wide range of shades on either end of the spectrum, so I think that's kind of an issue. This does match me pretty much perfectly for what I need it to do. It wouldn't be good for highlighting. It's just good for kind of color correcting, which is what I need it to do. This is light ivory, and it's just a really, really nice lightweight concealer. This, I think, was the concealer that people were saying was a dupe for the Shape Tape, and I've never tried Tarte Shape Tape. It was just too pricey for me. I know it's not that much more than Kat Von D, but it was just, I just didn't buy into it. I didn't buy into the hype, and so I really like this. I don't know how it compares to Shape Tape, but it's been working exceptionally well for me, and I feel so much more put together with this than I did with the Kat Von D. I don't know if it's a color match or what. It just works. I'm really happy about that. Next would be my powder, my all-over powder. And before, I had said that my favorite powder was Fear Fluff, and I still love that powder. I really do. But I have found one that I like even more. It just works a little bit better, and it's the Kat Von D translucent setting powder. This is great. I'm almost out. This is actually the small size, and this has lasted me, I think I got it in November, so, like, you know, a good handful of months it's lasted me, and I still have a ton left. This just, to me, sorry, there's a lot of noise going on outside. Can you not? Anyway, the powder is less white than Fluff, and it just has a nicer effect on my skin. Fluff is still great. It works so well to set your concealer, but this is just an amazing all-over-the-face powder, and it just blends everything out really nicely. I love this stuff. It just gives me such an airbrushed look, and I'm a big fan. Considering this was only $15 for this small one, I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about paying that much for the price. Paying that much for the price. You know what I'm saying. I don't mind paying that price. Okay, next is eye primer, and I had mentioned that my favorite was Urban Decay Enigma. If that was still available, because I don't believe it is, that would be my favorite. That would be my ride or die. I do love Urban Decay primer, and I still do. I just happen to be using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus, which, oh, look at that. I think I was actually using this when I filmed my original ride or die. I mentioned that I was using this at the moment, so it's kind of funny. I tend to go back and forth. If I can get Urban Decay Primer Potion for a good price, I tend to buy it. So I had bought one during last Black Friday, used it all up, and then got this guy. And so that's kind of what I do. But Ulta 21 Days of Beauty is coming up, and Urban Decay Primer Potion is on sale, so I'll probably be buying it. So basically, they're both my favorites. That hasn't changed. Wet n Wild, Photo Focus, and Urban Decay are just about the same to me. They work beautifully. Highly recommend both. Okay, I had mentioned a glitter glue type of product, and that was Fairy Pixie Epoxy. My tube is totally beat up. You can't even see any more writing. This is still my favorite. I still absolutely love Fairy Pixie Epoxy. This is the best glitter adhesive in my opinion, or even if you just want your shimmery shadows to pop, love Fairy Pixie Epoxy. This has been a holy grail product for me since I started using it. So that has remained the same. For eyeshadow, I said that Sugar Pill was my favorite, and they're still basically my favorite color shadows. I'll show you guys. Oh god, it's so dirty. My Pro palette, it's ridiculous. I need to clean it, but it's really hard to actually clean this paper. Like cardboard, I guess. But this is still my favorite. You can see I have a huge dip in Poison Plum. I'm really trying to work on that shadow. I want to hit pan so bad. And then 2 AM also has considerable dips. Some of these were just kind of chipped and depotting, which is not great. But honestly, I wasn't too upset because look how big the pans are. They're huge. Sugar Pill is probably still my favorite brand for eyeshadow. Here's my other Pro palette if you were interested. This is what it looks like. Kind of my more shimmery palette. One day, I kind of want to do it, like, reorganize these and make them just by color family, but I don't know. I have an addition to my eyeshadow portion, and it's also disgustingly dirty. This is my Modern Renaissance palette. I really love this palette. I know it's kind of typical to put this in here, but you can see that I've used the heck out of it. Sometimes, you know, I feel like beauty YouTubers will say like, oh, I use this palette so much, and you can barely see use. I've used this palette a lot. My mom actually bought me a backup for Christmas, which is really nice, and honestly, once I clear out a couple of these shades, the ones that I use often, I will switch to that new one because I'm not really going to use a couple of these shades. I know I won't use them up before it goes bad. So basically, this is a great palette. This is my go-to for a neutral look. I have a couple other go-to palettes for neutral looks like the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani, so I had a hard time choosing between that one and this one. But I just think this might beat it out by a little bit. So, yeah, I really do love this palette. I think it's fantastic. The quality is great. They're having a party outside. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Alright, for eyeliner, I had said Kat Von D's Tattoo Liner and Urban Decay's Perversion Pencil were my favorite. Kat Von D's Tattoo Liner is still one of my absolute favorites. Definitely. I don't really use pencil liners that much anymore. I used to, like, go on my inner rim. I do that occasionally, but it's not something I do very often, so I'm not even going to give an alternative. This is my favorite. I do liquid liner most days, so this is the best. Then mascara. Okay. Watching that video back, I genuinely missed the mascara I was using, which was Maybelline The Falsies. Not a cruelty-free mascara, so I had to kick it to the curb, and that was probably the hardest product to replace for me. And I don't think I've actually found a replacement, you know, that's identical. I do, however, use Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect. Mine's really old. I keep going to Ulta to get a new one, and they're just out, and I don't know if I want to try the other Lash Princess versions or if I just want to wait it out. It hasn't been that long, but it's been long enough that I would like a new tube. This is really good. I do enjoy it. It's not quite Maybelline The Falsies, but it's decent. Obviously enough for me to go out and buy a new one, but mascara is one of those things where I don't know, I had a couple that I really loved when I wasn't 100% cruelty-free, and I just wish there was something very comparable. I was using Better Than Sex mascara for a long time, and this is just equal to it to me. It just works as well, so I couldn't stomach the $23. But yeah, Essence Lash Princess for right now is my my go-to ride or die mascara. And foundation, I was using Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. I think you can kind of see a trend. I liked a lot of Maybelline products. I just thought they were really high quality. for the price. They just worked for me. And Maybelline Matte and Poreless was a great foundation for my skin at the time. I don't wear foundation anymore. I really don't. I was wearing the e.l.f. Flawless Finish, I think is what it's called, foundation for a long time. And I even have backups of it, which is stupid. Don't do that. Don't be like me. I decided not to wear foundation anymore. I think my skin looks fine. As long as I powder it and use, concealer and a little bit of primer, I'm fine. I look okay. It's just not practical in Florida. I just find that it just, it's not that it slides off because my setting spray does its job, but it's just uncomfortable and my forehead sweats so much that it's just unpleasant, honestly. So I just gave up and I don't feel bad at all. And everything's evening out now, so it's all good. Blush. My old Ride or Die blush was MAC Azalea Blossom, and I still love that blush. I do still have my MAC blushes and some MAC lipsticks, so I haven't thrown out all my non-cruelty-free items. That's not something I personally needed to do. I know some people do feel the need to get rid of their products that are tested on animals when they go cruelty-free. I see that as kind of wasteful, so I still use my MAC blushes. I still use my MAC lipsticks. I don't have too much non-cruelty-free makeup. It's mostly MAC that I had. So I do still use MAC Azalea Blossom, but it's not my, holy grail anymore. I would say that Urban Decay Afterglow blushes are. I have 3 of them, and then I have, the Gwen Stefani blush palette. So between that, about, 7 blushes, basically, 7 or 8. And I really love them. This is the color Fetish, so this is probably my favorite everyday type of blush. It's pulling a little bit more tan on camera, but it's a little pink. And I just love their blushes. They're beautifully buildable, but also easy to blend out. So I really love them. They last a long time. They're great. Highlighter. I said Moonchild Glow Kit back then, and it is still probably my favorite. I have a couple highlighters that come and go. I really, really love the Wet n Wild Moon Tears one right now from the Gothic Graphic. But since I've only had it a couple weeks, I didn't think I could put it in a Ride or Die quite yet. But Moonchild is definitely one of my absolute favorites. It's stunning. It's still gorgeous. You can see I've definitely put some work into this one. Nothing near what some people have done to theirs. I'm really impressed by other people. But I've had this since that Ride or Die tag, and I love it. I remember specifically ordering this. I didn't know it was going to be permanent at the time, and I ran out from an exhibit at the Louvre. I had a timer on my phone, and no, that's not true. I didn't have a timer. I went on lunch, and I was like, you know what, let me check if it's released. That's what happened. I wasn't that crazy. I just happened to check, and it had gone live, so I ordered it when I was at the Louvre. And I love this. I just think Purple Horseshoe is the prettiest. I think I swatched the same one in my original video. It's so beautiful. And I'm going to also include the Aurora Glow Kit just because I have it. I have been having some issues. I think Liv Loves Her Makeup has been having the same issues of this oily thing that's going on here. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't like it. It's basically taken over my entire palette. I don't know if you can see it. But the colors themselves are quite gorgeous. That's Luna, and Luna just is a nice silvery shade, really versatile. Spectra is probably my favorite. I just think it's really cool. So yeah, in general, I would say Anastasia highlighters are my holy grail Ride or Die. Then contour. I didn't really have one before. I did mention the Lunatic Cosmetics Lab palette, volume 1, now that they have 2 volumes. And I would say that that's still probably my Ride or Die. I don't really contour a lot. I didn't contour a lot back then, so it's really kind of an unfair category for me. But I do like that still. I also use the Life's Entropy Proton contouring stick or something like that, however it's said. But that's not really readily available anymore, so I don't really contour too much. For brows, I believe I mentioned the Lunatic Cosmetics Lab palette as well, but right now I've been using the Anastasia, what is this called, Brow Powder Duo in Granite. This is way more true to my hair color, and so that's why I'm using this one now, because before it was just a little too light and too warm toned. Really like that. I like it with the brush that they sell. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Yes, here it is. I like to use that brow powder with the brush from Anastasia and the spoolie, and it works great. Okay, lips. So before I had talked about Jeffree Star's liquid lipsticks as well as Jouer's, and I don't buy from Jeffree Star anymore. I found suitable color alternatives to my favorite shades, like Blue Velvet and, oh god, what was it called? Oh, I can't remember it. I'm Royalty. That was my favorite, that beautiful purple. But Sugar Pill Spank is actually like a perfect, it's not spot on dupe, it's more cool toned, which I like, and that's what I wanted I'm Royalty to be. So I'm all set there. But in terms of my favorite liquid lipsticks now, Jouer is still one of my favorites. I still only own 3, and I can't find Cassis, and I'm really upset. But they're my favorite. They're really easy to throw on in the morning, go to work, go to school, do whatever I have to do, and not have to worry about it. Especially Tawny Rose, which is like my perfect nude for me to be able to just like not worry about even eating. It just looks natural when it fades away. I love this formula. My next one is Black Moon Cosmetics. I think I had recently reviewed them when I made the Ride or Die tag, or I was about to, and I didn't love the Black Metal Trio the first time I got it, which I don't know how. They're like my favorite now. I don't know what was going on with me at the time, but Black Moon is my favorite. Their Black Metals are even better, but I just kind of picked one that I had on top of my makeup selection here, and this is Wrath. Just beautiful. They last a long time. They're very comfortable. They do sometimes need to be touched up. It's not a big deal. They look gorgeous. They wear beautifully. And then my third favorite, because I really couldn't narrow it down to one, is Sugar Pill Trinket, but Sugar Pill liquid lipsticks in general. This is Trinket. Mine is totally beat up. I've used it so much. I'm actually about to get rid of this one because I'm basically done with it. I have a backup. And you can kind of see how I'm scraping the sides, basically, at this point, all over. So Sugar Pill's formula is just so comfortable. I find it to be almost moisturizing, especially the shimmery ones. They're more moisturizing than the regular mattes. And they just wear very beautifully, very gracefully throughout the day. So those are my other favorites. For regular lipsticks, I don't think I actually gave any in the video, which kind of surprises me. I'm still very much into liquid lipsticks. They're still my favorite formula to wear. I know a lot of people are kind of phasing them out now or kind of getting out of them. I'm still into them. I just find that they suit my needs. But for traditional lipsticks, Urban Decay has it for me. This just happens to be one from the Kristen Leanne collection. This is Bun Bun. I didn't really do a video review on this collection. I know she had said some problematic things recently, so I didn't really... I felt like everyone had already covered the collection. Plus that, I didn't really feel the need to do it, but I really did like the collection. That being said, Urban Decay Vice lipsticks are probably my favorite, and they're $17 now. They used to be like $20 for the Revolution ones. I don't love the cheaper feeling packaging, but I do love the formula. Their mattes are super comfortable and last a long, long time. I really love them. They just look beautiful, and they're very comfortable on the lips. I think... we're getting down to the last couple here, and it is sprays in general. So I had MAC Prep and Prime, and let me tell you guys, that was one of the hardest things for me to give up when I went cruelty-free, because I loved it, and it just made me feel good to have like that plus a setting spray. It just felt like my makeup gelled together more. And I haven't really found I haven't really tried to find an alternative, but I do think I could probably use my Mario Badescu spray. I love this, but this is mostly like a general moisturizer for me instead of like a makeup setting spray type of thing. But I've just been using my Urban Decay All Nighter, which I also mentioned in that section of the video. It's been great. Tried and true. Really love this. It's worked beautifully in Florida. It's something I absolutely have to have in my collection at all times. So... really do like it. And that's it. I did want to add one more thing to the video, which is lip balm. I didn't really have one that I had chose back then. I don't know what I would have picked back then either. But right now, it's the Bite Agave Lip Mask. This stuff is life. I use it so much. I use it at night. And I wake up and my lips are super supple and ready for liquid lipstick death. So I really love this stuff. At 25 minutes, I'm going to wrap it up. That was my updated ride or die tag with cruelty-free options. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what your favorite products are. I just kind of tried to run through all the things I use on a daily basis and give you guys like an update on what I still use, what I don't use. I think it's even kind of cool to see like makeup styles that we have. So like for me, I don't really contour anymore and I don't really use foundation anymore. That's kind of a big shift in like a makeup style. So it's kind of cool to see all these revisited videos, and I really wanted to just add mine out there, especially with the cruelty-free twist. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye!